I'm back.
Hello, welcome to Sympathy, where we get real with cult films. I'm your host Brian, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, my bro-host, Thomas.
Hello.
This week we return with the Terminator franchise as we jump across timelines to discuss its various sequels. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so Terminator Salvation from 2009.
You know me. We've been at war since before either of us even existed.
Directed by McG, and it's written by John Brancato and Michael Ferris. And it was a budget of $200 million, and it grossed $371,353,001. It's the $1 that really got me there. It stars Christian Bale as John Connor, Sam Worthington as Marcus Wright, Anton Yelchin as Kyle Reese, Moonblood Good as Blair Williams, Bryce Dallas Howard as Kate Connor, Michael Ironside as General Ashdown, and Common as Barnes, and Helena Bonham Carter as Dr. Serena Kogan. And synopsis is, as the machines prepare for a final attack, John Connor and a mysterious stranger delve into the heart of Skynet and uncover a terrible secret involving the annihilation of mankind. I mean, it's Terminator. It should always be like the annihilation of mankind, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there, yeah. Whether it is or it's leading to. I actually really enjoy this film.
Yeah.
I don't think it's great,
No.
as in Terminator 1 or 2 great, but there's some really great ideas here, and I particularly like how it is a sequel with it being in the future and following John's story arc, but it's also a prequel,
Yeah.
with it also being set in the future, and Kyle Reese is there and he's not sent back.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen this full trilogy come out and create a full circle in the timeline, if you know what I mean, which would have been really cool, because that was the intended idea with this, if I'm right, to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
Sadly, I think it does have some flaws through that, though. Like you said, we've got Sam Worthington's character, Marcus.
Yeah.
And he's quite a pivotal role in this film. They spend a lot of time with him that I feel is detracting from John Connor and the actual resistance fighters doing their thing.
Yeah.
He's a character that they could have built up nicely in this one and then done some of the stuff with him in the second one, and I don't think it would have changed how the timeline would play out and would have worked just a little better for flow and building characters and the story in general.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because Christian Bale's John Connor is fantastic in this, I think.
Yeah.
That hardened, seasoned warrior type thing. He's clearly not in command of the resistance, but it feels like it's building to that.
Yeah.
And he does have some sort, I forgot what rank he is. There's also some nice touches in here, because is it Terminator 2 where we see the future one with the scar on his head?
Yeah.
And he actually gets the scar in this film at some point.
Yeah.
You said Bryce Dallas Howard is back as Kate Connor.
Yeah.
So I say Kate Connor is back, but now played by
Bryce Dallas
Yeah,
Howard.
because she's playing the character that... Was it Kate Brewster in the third one?
Yeah, like Claire Danes.
Yeah, that Claire Danes played. And where we leave Claire Danes' version of Kate, it feels like she's on track to becoming a decent soldier of her own.
Yeah.
Where here, it's just like, oh, Bryce Dallas Howard's Kate is pregnant now.
Yeah.
So she takes a back seat and doesn't really do much.
No.
And she doesn't seem to have any sort of aggressive edge to her. She feels quite soft and rounded as a character more than a jagged edges, if you know what I mean. I think original Kate
was quite confrontational.
And
This Kate is, well, she don't really have anything to do. But
No,
be
it's-
pregnant and stay at base.
I feel there's some wasted potential there with her. And speaking of wasted potential, that probably goes to Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but they cast her in it, and then, if I'm right, someone in her family died, and she had to be flown off.
So she was supposed to be doing more.
Yeah, she's supposed to have a bigger part.
Right, I wondered if she was supposed to have a bigger part in the next two films, but I couldn't figure out how, because this does spoil it a little. Her scene is in her main scene really is in the past.
Yeah.
/ our present.
/ our past.
And Sam Worthington, I remember really not liking him first watching this film.
No.
His character.
Yeah.
Watching it again, I feel like Sam Worthington's maybe in it because he was found by James Cameron, I guess, for Avatar.
Well, that's why they cast him. James Cameron actually put his name.
Oh,
forward.
right, okay. I didn't know James Cameron actually had anything to do with this one.
I didn't either, but apparently he suggested him for the movie.
Yeah.
Don't know how true that is, but that's apparently apparently what happened.
With everything that's in this film and the pacing of it, and knowing it was planned as a trilogy, I think a trilogy starting from this point was a little ambitious.
Yeah.
I think they could have maybe just done everything they wanted to do in one film had they paced it properly.
Yeah, probably.
Because it really weren't far off from just being able to get to the point where, oh look, blah, 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 we'll send Kyle back.
Yeah.
And just close the loop. And Anton Yelchin's an amazing Kyle Reese.
Yeah, but while we're on about Marcus and Kyle, it's just funny to me that Marcus does a lot of the things Kyle did in the first Terminator.
Yeah, he seems to be like Kyle's mentor and inspiration figure.
Like, it's not just how he is, it's dialogue as well.
Yeah.
Things like, what year is it?
There's the what year is it, the long coat that he's wearing when they meet, the thing with the shotgun.
Yeah, when he ties it to his wrist.
Yeah, and damn, there's another one that I can't remember what that is.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Also, there's a scene with them two together where they're in a truck, like a chase scene.
Yeah.
And it's before Fury Road, but it feels very Mad Max.
Yeah.
The setting doesn't help, I guess, with the deserty wastelands of a fallen Los Angeles. Because I've wrote the truck scene feels very Road Warrior.
Yeah.
Because there's a decent truck scene in the Mad Max 2 Road Warrior. But that's the scene, isn't it, where we get the Motonators, are they known when we watch the special features? The like bike ones, the automated.
Something like that.
And they're a cool idea.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, they don't particularly work.
No.
Because they feel a lot more advanced than the T-800 that they send back.
Yeah.
Which hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. They're just on about the T-800s being in production.
Yeah.
Which means I think they're about 10 years out of date by the time they end up sending a T-800 back.
Yeah. Although, at that point, if I'm right, Kyle says they were winning the war, and it was a last-ditched attempt, weren't it, by Skynet when they sent the T-800 back.
Yeah.
But it feels a lot more advanced than everything else we're seeing in the film.
Yeah.
Automated bikes, they are cool.
Yeah.
But they come out of a larger mech's legs, didn't they?
In the feet of a large mech thing.
But that mech was like picking up survivors and resistance fighters and putting it in a cage on its back to take to camps.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Possibly a nod to War of the Worlds, to be honest.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Because I see no other reason why they had to be like that.
Nah, I didn't rate much to the big robot.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
That's the one that really kills.
I think that's better than the bikes. Because of its size and its slow movability, it doesn't feel as advanced as the bikes do, if you will.
I know what you mean, but I also didn't like how that big robot snuck up on them.
That was
in the middle of nowhere as well. There's no other noise going on. There's no way that massive thing could have just snuck up. It must have been there the whole time, and then a little group of survivors have been there. We don't know how long either.
And then bikes, I believe, were based on, was it a Ducati? When we watched the special features, McGee was like, oh, I'm a bike guy.
Yeah, I believe so.
Somebody else involved was a bike guy, and they both agreed that whatever model Ducati, I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Ducati is what they based them on for their shape.
Which I'm just certainly just wanted a bike out of it.
Yeah.
Another thing about Marcus is he's named Marcus Wright, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the first Terminator movie, Wright is the name of the officer at the desk of the police station.
Oh, right. So it's a little throwback.
Some people think that might first be like his dad or something, or related.
Fair enough. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
But I also think Wright's a
small world of rules, right?
Yeah, but I also think Wright's a common name.
Yeah, I wondered if his name being Wright was a thing to do with right and wrong.
Yeah.
Due to how his plot plays out. And I'm not 100%, but I think Marcus is a biblical name.
I'm not sure. But I know the original script for this was going to have Marcus take the place of John Connor or something.
Alright.
And something weird like that they had originally planned, and they decided against it. Marcus was supposed to somehow carry on the legacy of John Connor or something. And I thought, not that early on in the war. But again, I don't know. Maybe that was for a planned sequel.
Oh, Marcus is a biblical name. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher who served as a Roman emperor.
Right.
There's a chance it's maybe referencing that.
Maybe going on what I just said.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they didn't go that route.
Yeah, me too.
I actually like the war aspect of this film.
Yeah, I think they could have done a little bit more with that if they'd have focused a little less on Marcus.
Yeah.
Because Michael Ironside in this, he plays General Ashdown.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a throwaway part, really. And I think he was general on a submarine.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where they meet John Connor. I think John Connor goes to see him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
After some incidents at the very beginning of the film. Yeah. Where, also at the very beginning of the film, there's a wasted Terry Crews just playing a corpse.
Yeah.
Although he's credited as Captain Jericho.
Yeah, some scenes filmed and they're deleted. Right. I don't know if they're on the extended.
Yeah. It doesn't help that my Blu-ray that I haven't really watched didn't seem to want to play.
No.
It was skipping for some reason.
Yeah. I do think this was the right direction to go for the franchise after 3 as well.
Yeah, because
3
this
kicked
is
off the war.
Same writers as 3?
Yeah.
As well?
Yeah, they wrote 3, so. Yeah, after kicking off the war in 3, I think starting here is the right idea. Yeah. I just don't think this was the real good story to tell.
No, I think there was a better in. This feels like a second movie,
Yeah.
or especially if you're doing a trilogy, it feels like a second movie within the trilogy where there's plot threads not understood, or too many focus parts on things that should be in a second movie anyway.
Yeah.
Because Common also feels quite wasted in this as Barnes. He doesn't seem to be doing all that much.
No, you don't do much at all. I don't really feel a lot of them do much, which is really weird in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
And it's not that big of a cast either.
Christian Bale is top billed.
Yeah.
And I don't think he has as much to do as Sam Worthington or Anton Yelchin.
No.
His part only really comes into play properly in the last half hour.
Yeah.
There's just little scenes of him between that, I would say, which for a 2-hour movie isn't a lot.
That's another thing from the original script. Marcus was the main guy. John Connor was going to be in it at the end.
Right.
He was going to be the lead into the sequel, which kind of makes sense. It was when Christian Bale wanted to be John Connor, they wrote him.
They thought would have been more to do.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also the film where you get the famous Christian Bale run.
Yeah, that was on cinematographer Shane Hurlbut, apparently.
Right.
He's a cinematographer on the Need for Speed movie.
All right.
Into the Badlands, he did something on
That's
that.
a great show. Also, Christian Bale brought his stunt guy with him, Buster Reeves, who was his stand-in for Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
And here he also got a little role as Tunny.
Yeah.
He's just a resistance fighter background sort of character, I believe.
Incredible. And going from Batman, let's go to music with Danny Elfman, seeing as though he did the Batman score from the 89 movie. I think he does a pretty solid score on this. It's not your traditional Terminator score, or no, it's not even your traditional Elfman either. I think he lent into the themes of the war and the actual movie itself. And you do get, like, what I consider in the original Terminator music, and it's like a more steady build. So I feel like it is a new beginning and got it to steadily build to the metallic clanking and all that sort of thing that you get later. Apparently, they did actually have Brad Fiedel. He's the guy who did the score for the
original
Terminator 2.
Right.
But they said it didn't fit the movie, what he wanted to do. I think he wanted to do something a bit more traditional Terminator.
Yeah.
And they're saying
they're not at that stage yet.
Yeah, they want the war.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to build again to something else. And you do get sort of elements from it, but it's not the same. It is, like I say, it is more of a war thing on this one, which kind of upsets me that they didn't focus enough on the war aspect of the film, I don't feel. Yeah. I don't know if that's meant to be.
Because there's a really good scene in here with a T-600, played by Brian Steele, who's recently been on the podcast as some creature guys in the Hellboy films, the Del Toro ones anyway. Yeah, he plays as T-600. And in the behind-the-scenes featurette, there's like scenes of him trying on the actual skull mask and stuff, like the skull, the endoskeleton head of a Terminator.
Yeah.
Because that's then got like a weird rubbery skin on top of it, isn't it?
Yeah, because they haven't perfected the human.
And it looks like they've got a great big minigun attached to them.
Yeah.
Like all the time. Also, watching them special features things on the Blu-ray, I'm surprised how much practical effects work was on this in terms of pyrotechnics and explosions and even model work, miniatures and so on. Like a lot. Because I forgot what they call it, but it's like a mechanical eel in the water scene.
Oh, yeah.
And they managed to catch one. And they actually built one that they could actually physically hold on set and so on. They look pretty rad.
Yeah, they were cool, to be fair. They did try to introduce a few other, like, Terminators.
Yeah.
You've got the Hunter Killers and they fly about.
Yeah, they're actually in the first one as well, aren't they?
Yeah, so
in the future scenes.
I think they really wanted to branch out, and I think the ones in the water, the eel-like ones, are pretty cool. It's only the bike ones I'm not too keen on.
They feel too advanced compared to everything else in the film, I
think. On the giant mech thing either.
No, but I can see where they're going with it.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they want humans for.
To experiment and study on, I think. Kyle goes on about in the first one because that's where he gets the barcode.
Yeah,
because he's an imprisoned human. But
he got caught in this one, but they never gave him a barcode.
No.
I don't remember him getting one, so I'm assuming in a future film he was going to get caught again and given a barcode. Kyle's kind of the whole reason we get to the climax in this, isn't he? Because Marcus and John Connor put their disagreements aside and team up to rescue him.
Yeah.
Where we get the, I guess it's the first T-800, canonically. Yeah, I think. Depends how you want to look at the timeline. Do you start it and not count it when it's in the past, in the 80s?
I'm going to say, where does the Terminator timeline actually begin? Does it start with John Connor, or does it start
That's what's
at
fascinating
the
about
Terminator movie, or does it actually start where the war begins in 3?
But yeah, this is where we see the first T-800, if we're calling it the first. And people complained because it was a CGI Arnie.
Yeah.
Or Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you don't know. But
Yeah.
It's just easier to say Arnie. Everyone knows him as Arnie, don't they?
No.
You say, what Arnie movie do you like? And everyone knows what you mean. And I think the CGI isn't really all that bad, but it's mostly his face that they've done CGI.
Yeah.
They had Roland Kickinger was the body double. He was, I think, a bodybuilder, and they wanted somebody with similar measurements to Arnold to do the stand-in.
Yeah.
Because it's quite funny on the behind the scenes, because they just keep his face covered inadvertently with random things.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great stuff in this. Like I said, the pyrotechnics done mostly real.
Yeah.
From watching the features anyway.
Yeah.
And sadly, I think some of the explosions are let down by a filter.
Yeah.
They've like desaturated the colour, haven't they? So it's like almost washed out.
Yeah.
Which is great for the world looking dreary with that almost washed out look.
Yeah.
But then when you get the fire from the explosions and stuff, you want them to be quite vivid in colour, I think, to feel a little more tangent. Is that a word?
Tangible.
Yeah. But because the colour remains washed out upon the flames as well.
Yeah. It makes it really obvious there's a filter there.
Yeah, definitely. And it spoils the actual impact of the explosion, I think, as well, to a point. Which is a little disappointing. You could probably fix in post, I guess.
Yeah, it takes a bit of time.
Probably, and I know reds bleed quite easy in colour. We were on about that, I think, when we were discussing the Hellboy films.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to like about this. There's some really good ideas in here. It's really worth checking out if you haven't seen it and gave up after 3. Rise of the Machines.
This one, in a way, for me, is kind of as good as 3 on a rewatch. I kind of prefer this one mainly for the fact it's in the war.
I'd put it above 3 just because it's nice to see a badass John Connor.
Yeah.
Some of the future and the world is focused on that, because 3 was still kind of rehashing a lot of what we'd seen in 1 and 2. And it's only the end of 3 I particularly like.
Yeah.
Which is great because that gets us this.
There's some other stuff I liked in 3, but for me, this one, it's the most different of the whole franchise.
Yeah.
As well, so it really stands out for that, whether it be good or bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do kind of like this one for that.
I guess we're moving on.
No, not yet. Just one thing.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll allow one thing.
I think it'll make you laugh.
It better make me laugh.
McG believes this movie underperformed and didn't do as well because Sarah Connor Chronicles lessened the impact of a new Terminator movie.
Wow, I'd not seen that anywhere. I kind of think he could be right, because Sarah Connor Chronicles was great.
Yeah.
But if you're enjoying the Terminator franchise, I don't think that's really going to put people off this.
No.
I don't think this looked like a Terminator movie.
No.
And that, I think, is possibly what put people off.
Yeah. Well, some people didn't want to watch it because Arnold went in it.
Yeah, which I guess is a fair thing to make.
But I think I was more interested in the fact it was going to be the war.
Yeah, because it was different.
Yeah. And after 3, I think you really needed something different.
But as you said about Sarah Connor, though, being out, I mean, that was a great show. If you're listening to this, we should have just put out an episode 3 days or so prior to this, or earlier as a bonus episode midweek, discussing Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah.
Also, this had a pretty poor video game that I quite like. I understand it's a bad game, but we played it co-op because it was co-op.
Yeah.
And it was just an easy platinum trophy if you're a
PlayStation gamer.
Yeah. Because you could just get them all just by one playthrough, I think, on hardest difficulty, which weren't really all that hard in co-op.
No.
I mean, I couldn't really tell you what the story of that game was, but
you're just shooting
it's pretty easy, just shooting Terminators and working together if you like your couch co-op game.
I think you had to go rescue a survivors camp or something.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That only sounds like one mission to me.
Yeah. There was also that weird Machinima series.
Yeah.
I've not wrote down anything about that. I don't know. We just recently watched it.
They're both focused on Blair Williams, played by him in Bloodgood. Well, the series did especially. Yeah. They're both prequels to the movie.
That Machinima series, it's animated.
Yeah. It is from the people who did the game, and it uses the same graphics and effects were from the games, and it's pretty obvious when you watch them duck on cover and stuff. I mean, just the look of it.
It's pretty dire, isn't it?
If you look at the series, you look at the game, same thing.
It is pretty dire. Moon Bloodgood's character Blair had to go save some hacker guy called Ghost.
Yeah.
Get it, Ghost in the machine, because he was hacking the Skynet systems.
It could have been better.
Definitely. Everything I don't like about that animated series is pretty much what I don't like about the video game. And it's just how cheap and unfinished it all feels, from the writing to the look.
Yeah.
It's just sadly a little bland.
Yeah. It weren't great, was it?
No. But Salvation has a lot of great ideas in there, just not explored enough.
Yeah.
Overall, I would say. got Michael Ironside as General Ashdown, who's in charge of John Connor, it seems. Completely unutilized, really. I think that's his only scene. Maybe he comes back a little later.
I think he has a couple of scenes. I think he was supposed to come back, but he had an injury as well. He had a back injury or something, so he couldn't sit down
Oh, right.
for long.
Well, he was stood up for most of the
That's
scenes
why
anyway.
he stood up.
You expect a general to be stood up, don't you?
I know.
But no one's thinking these soldiers need to be sat down.
I know.
Soldiers should stand. Gives them a sense of purpose. But to me, Salvation could have been great. And I think a sequel would have really proven this to be worth it
Yeah.
as well.
I think ending it there kind of loses traction as well. And then the ones that come after, people have gone back to it and gone like, great, it's different.
Yeah. I'm
thing.
terribly shocked by its how much it made compared to its budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was 100 mil less than the third one. But this was the first 12A or whatever Terminator movie.
Which I find a bit ridiculous. Terminator 3 felt very PG.
Yeah. Over here.
But I think it was like 12A.
Yeah. So it weren't for us, Terminator
And
3.
Salvation? What was Salvation over here?
12A.
But it doesn't feel as 12A as Terminator 3.
No. I think that war setting adds a bit of grip to it.
Yeah,
And 3 was a bit all over the place on tone.
A bit more gunplay and stuff, or it feels like there is in Salvation, more action scenes.
Yeah.
And the action scenes are definitely better. There's no random car exploding for the sake of it.
Oh, yeah.
I actually got a lot out of watching Salvation again, and but that was it. I mentioned about the miniatures and practical work for the effects work on this film. Now, I'm probably wrong, but this feels like it could be the last big budget Hollywood movie to be doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, Nolan still does a lot of practical stuff.
Yeah.
And his films are blockbusters, but they're not the same sort of blockbusters as these, and they're not as action focused more often than not anyway.
I think that's one of the problems with Terminator. It started off as like an indie thing, and then it went big Hollywood from 2 onwards, and it loses what it was. I'm sure I read it somewhere that Terminator Salvation... Yeah, I don't know if it still is, but it was the highest budget movie financed independently.
What production company was it? Not Warner Brothers?
Yeah, so McG and a few others finance it, produce it and whatnot, and then Warner Brothers paid, I think, 30 million for distribution.
Because when you look at the cast, really, they're not particularly all big Hollywood actor guys, are they, really?
No, well,
I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard, you would say now, maybe, due to the Jurassic Worlds.
Christian Bale and Sam Worthington.
But Christian Bale still does your indie stuff.
Yeah.
And your lesser known...
Sam Worthington did 2 of the highest grossing movies of all time.
Avatar and Avatar 2.
Yeah.
Well, Avatar The Way of Water.
Yeah.
I think it's called.
Same thing.
We never mentioned Jada Grace, or Jada Grace Berry, as I think she's credited for in this.
Yeah, that's a random mute girl.
Yeah, but she seems to be somebody that Reese has saved and is helping anyway.
Yeah.
When Marcus meets him.
Yeah, she's just there.
And honestly, I really don't know who the hell she is or where she's come from.
No, but the character in this was just pointless, really. She was just there.
I think it was to give you the idea that Kyle Reese is a nice man trying to do the right thing by looking after her.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it should have been in this movie.
Michael Bean.
That'd have been weird. No, I think Derek Reese needed to be in this movie.
Oh, from Sarah Connor. Well, I think we actually say it when we were discussing the Sarah Connor Chronicles that the rumour was, or we were under the impression that it was supposed to lead into Salvation.
Yeah.
But upon watching Salvation again, it doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't sound like either of them were in talks. I don't think it was ever going to continue into a movie.
No.
I think it was just its own thing.
Yeah, as this kind of is, even though it picks up from 3.
And like I said, McG doesn't sound as though he was very impressed with Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Well, he blames it for this downfall.
Yeah.
But I mean, Sarah Connor Chronicles was giving great Terminator content weekly while there was no film.
Yeah.
And I do think that Sarah Connor Chronicles is far better than
any of these.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. You haven't got a lot to say about that one?
No, just that the writers have worked on the game. Not the game of this movie, but David Fincher's The Game.
Yeah.
And a film called The Net with Sandra Bullock from the 90s and what I believe is a horrible comic book adaptation starring Bruce Willis called Surrogates.
I thought you were going to say Catwoman.
I love Catwoman, so I'm not going to bring that up.
All right. Them people that don't know who McG is, he's the director of the Charlie's Angels movies from the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
This Means a War and 3 Days to Kill.
Yeah, and produces several television shows.
Yeah, he produces a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, I think that's his main thing though, isn't it? Producer.
Yeah, Bale won't work with him again.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Terminator Salvation weren't very good.
I mean, that's not really a reason to work with anyone.
Bale didn't like working with him.
Fair enough.
He didn't think McG could do a Terminator movie.
Yeah.
And McG convinced him that he could.
And then I guess Bale thought this isn't a Terminator movie.
Yeah.
For Christian Bale. Are we moving swiftly on?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2015's Terminator Genisys.
I'm old, not obsolete.
On a budget of 155 million and grossing 440,603,537 US dollars. Directed by Alan Taylor, written by, I hope I say this name right, I believe it's Lita Colagridis and Patrick Lussier, based on characters obviously created by James Cameron and Gail Ann Hurd. And it stars Jason Clarke as John Connor, Emilia Clarke as Sarah Connor, Jay Courtney as Kyle Reese, J.K. Simmons as O'Brien, Deo O'Kaney as Danny Dyson, Matt Smith as Alex, Courtney B. Vance as Miles Dyson, and Lee Byung-hun as the T-1000. The synopsis, as IMDb has it, is when John Connor, leader of the human resistance, sends Sergeant Kyle Reese back to 1984 to protect Sarah Connor and safeguard the future, an unexpected turn of events creates a fractured timeline. So,
Incredible. This movie has too much in it. Nah, I did enjoy it more on a rewatch. I'll
Yeah.
admit that. I don't particularly like the casting of Sarah Connor, Kyle Reese, or John Connor.
no, I don't. I think the guy they got for the T-1000, Lee Byung-hun, phenomenal for how little he's in it.
Yeah, he's memorable as hell,
Yeah,
isn't he?
but he's Storm Shadow in G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra and Retaliations, but he's also in a very good, I think it's a Korean film called I Saw the Devil. It's like a cat and mouse game between a cop and a serial killer.
Alright.
Very much worth a watch if you've not seen it.
Yeah, I will say actually, looking at the budget for this being on 155 mil though.
Pretty damn good
Yeah,
for the most part.
I didn't realise this is your cheapest Terminator since the first one.
Yeah.
And the stuff they had to do in it, it's the biggest one in scope.
Yeah, I know you said the cast let this down because you're not fond on Clark or Courtney.
No.
Do you think they did that intentionally, cast two Clarks to play the Connors, even
Uh,
though they're not related at all?
I hope so.
But no, I think they are miscast as well. But I think a biggest letdown of this is Alan Taylor as director.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, he did Thor: The Dark World, which is
Yeah.
the second Thor, which is critically panned. But I kind of prefer it to the first Thor film.
I think it's an alright Thor film,
But
but it does kind of fall flat.
I feel he's got maybe a bit too much of a TV drama series background, working on things like Mad Men, Rome, Sopranos.
Yeah.
He did do a few episodes of Game of Thrones, which is probably how he got Emilia Clarke on board.
Yeah.
But he also did direct the Sopranos prequel movie, The Many Saints of Newark, the other year.
Right.
But I'm not sure he was maybe the guy to direct this.
No.
Also, when you talk about cast, I think there's a better version in this from the cast, because apparently they wanted Christian Bale to reprise the role of John Connor.
Yeah.
He declined, probably due to his unfortunate outings with Salvation.
That's funny because I forgot to mention that Nick Stahl and Claire Danes, they were apparently asked to be in Terminator
and they
Salvation.
declined.
They declined
Yeah.
due to a bad time on
Yeah.
Terminator 3.
And oddly, Brie Larson and Margot Robbie apparently screen tested for the role of Sarah Connor on this film.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how Brie Larson would have done, but I think she could have done it. And it's odd because if I'm right, in her Captain Marvel movie, they do a little homage to Terminator.
I think so. I don't know what. Can't remember.
When she gets back to Earth, I think she takes some biker leathers and sunglasses off someone, but I'm not 100%
I think you're
since
right.
it's
I
released.
think you're right.
But I think Margot Robbie could have maybe done a pretty good job. I imagine hers would have been a little similar to Lena Headey's from the Sarah Connor Chronicles, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Yeah. Where it at least feels
Yeah,
like the character.
But it's just odd because this would have been out before she was Harlequin.
Yeah.
Because this film came out in 2015 and she played Harlequin in
Yeah.
2016.
If this had come out after Suicide Squad, should have probably got it.
Yeah, probably. I can't find any news of who else they were looking at for Kyle Reese because Jay Courtney rarely, sadly bless him, puts in a great performance. Although I love him as Boomerang actually in the Suicide Squad film.
Yeah.
But for the role of Kyle, he's too big.
Yeah.
You know, Kyle needs to feel like almost malnourished. And even though Michael Biehn looks a little rugged, he's quite gentle.
Yeah.
Which is odd because Jay Courtney looks quite brutish but soft-featured. He doesn't have a tough guy appearance to him like
No.
Michael Biehn does. And he couldn't portray any of the actual more emotional stuff, I don't
No.
think, from Kyle.
It's weird that you say they got a more drama director, but I don't feel any of the drama scenes hit.
No, but that's the thing. This isn't a drama film.
No.
And I think that's where he struggled.
Yeah. I don't know.
Also, this is the first time Arnold Schwarzenegger's... In fact, I missed him off the cast. He's top billed. He should have been before Jason Clarke. He's not credited as Terminator or T-800. No, it's the first time he's not. He's credited as Guardian.
Yep. Ivan as Pops.
Pops. Oh, yeah, because that's what Sarah Connor calls him in this.
Yeah.
Because he's been sent back by an unknown entity.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't think we'll ever know who sent him back.
no, because like the last, this was the first of a trilogy.
Yep.
The two sequels were greenlit before this was even released.
Yeah.
And then instantly dropped once it released and sadly
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah. I don't really know where they'd have gone from this one.
No, but looking at its budget and what it made, it doubled it.
Oh,
Doubled
yeah.
the budget.
Yeah. Did quite well.
So would the idea not be, we'll do a sequel, but we'll strip it back a little more?
Yeah. This one actually did the best since Terminator 2.
Wow.
And Terminator 2 got 100 mil more than this.
Yeah, because this also opens and it recreates the events everyone knows from Terminator 1,
Yeah.
but with a slight twist.
Yeah.
Because now it's actually lifting, I think, from some of James Cameron's original ideas for the first Terminator, where there were 2 Terminators sent back, and one of them, if I'm right, was supposed to be a liquid one.
Yeah.
And we get that in this. We actually get a T-1000, as I said, played by Lee Byung-hun,
Yeah.
who I thought was phenomenal for how little he's in it.
Yeah, and he had his own poster.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow. Just great stuff from him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought. They apparently asked Robert Patrick to reprise that role as well, and he declined. He thought he'd made his mark on that role and wanted to put it behind him, which I think good on him. Good choice. It's good to know to let good things go sometimes. I'd like to think Arnold Schwarzenegger's hearing that get said somewhere before he's signing on to Terminator 7.
I'm sure they're writing it with him in mind.
This is where this movie gets a bit weird, I think.
Yeah.
One writer, Lita Kelagridis, if I'm saying the name right,
Yeah.
Shutter Island,
Yeah.
Alita Battle Angel,
Yeah.
and Alexander.
You're missing a few.
I just wrote 3 because I was quite happy with all them.
Yeah.
Why, you got more interesting things?
She's the creator of the TV series Birds of Prey from the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
She was a writer on Bionic Woman.
The reboot.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was a writer on Altered Carbon.
Okay, these are all shows that I'd like to cover for our Cancelled Too Soon.
And she was a writer on the movie Night Watch.
Is it Night Watch, Day Watch?
Yeah, she's a writer on that.
Is she Russian?
No.
Was that not a Russian film?
Yeah, but she's a writer on it.
Okay, odd. And it's co-written by Patrick Lussier, which I think I said, who's, I believe, mostly known actually for directing. But he wrote Drive Angry, Dracula 2000 or Dracula 2001.
Yeah.
I don't know why it has 2 titles. Dracula 2, the sequel to that, it's got a subtitle, but I can't remember what.
Yeah.
And Dracula 3, which is also a sequel, and that's got a subtitle.
Yeah.
He doesn't just write those, he directs them.
Yeah.
And he directs the reboot of My Bloody Valentine that starred Jensen Ackles.
Yep.
Now, none of those films, I think, are must-watches.
No.
And Drive Angry is probably the closest one of those of his that is like a Terminator film.
Yeah.
It's just like Ghost Rider meets Terminator, really, that film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an odd cast that was working on this from its director to its writers, I think.
Yeah.
They're so tonally mismatched.
Well, yeah, cinematographer.
I never even looked at cinematography on any of these.
Rainer Morgenthau.
Yeah.
He also worked on For the Dark World, but he does Creed 2 and 3.
Phenomenal films.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is a bit all over the place.
Just such a weird film in general, this film, with how it's jumping through time as well. And this had its twist ball in the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
That John Connor is taken over by, like, nanobot Terminator.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I don't like it.
No.
I kind of prefer nanobots to liquid Terminator, though.
I understand what you mean.
Liquid Terminator, I just can't comprehend. As cool as people like it and as visually interesting as it is, I just can't comprehend it as a working piece of machinery when it's liquid. Yeah, nanobots work.
Just see them as nanobots.
But I've seen nanobots now in Terminator, thanks to Jason Clarke's John Connor. This also set up Matt Smith as Alex.
Yeah.
Who's just very briefly there in one scene.
Yeah.
And then comes back near the end as a digital face.
Yeah.
And I think he's got maybe 5 scenes cut from this movie.
Or more.
I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be like the film's main villain initially.
I genuinely think he was supposed to play a bigger part.
Maybe in the next 2 that we're not getting, I guess.
Well, yeah, because he's the one who's like the big bad, I'm assuming.
Well, he's the guy that gets John at the very beginning when John is sending Kyle back.
Yeah. So they have to stop him, I'm guessing, in the trilogy to correct the...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because this focuses on... Do they call it a Nexus event in this?
Something like that.
Because Kyle saw what was happening with John, and as he was going back in time, it's created a fractured memory to him so he can remember things that haven't actually happened yet, but the timeline's changed and things have to go a different way now.
Yeah.
Which we still don't know who sent the T-800 further back in time to protect Sarah Connor.
No.
Because he's just waiting for when the first Terminator from the first film initially comes in, who was played by Brett Azar, because he matched down his measurements and size and stuff from that first film.
Yeah.
He's done the T-800 in an uncredited scene somewhere in Dark Fate. Also, the costume designer on this, Susan Madison, this I found quite interesting. She was struggling to get Nike Vandals, which are what Kyle Reese wears in the first Terminator.
Yeah.
She wanted to find some brand new to buy, obviously.
Yeah.
Couldn't find them anywhere or on eBay or any of them second-hand places. So she got in touch with Nike several times to produce some for her. And they said, no, but you could sign on with us and design your own.
All right.
And she was like, anyone that knows sneakers will know they're not the original Nike Vandals.
Right.
So she declined and said that wouldn't be fair. Eventually, Paramount stepped in and said to Nike, can you do this for us, please? Apparently, the trivia says that Nike did a whole factory shutdown, or a factory shutdown anyway, should I say, from just one factory somewhere,
Yeah.
just to make 25 pairs of Nike Vandals for this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
which is a lot of effort for how little they're in the film, and 25 pairs is maybe a little excessive, but if somebody has a pair out there, please get in touch, because I would really, really like a pair.
If you're the same size as Jay Courtney.
I don't care, I will squeeze my feet into them.
That irritated us in this one, didn't they? They reenact that scene where Kyle gets a t-shirt on like straight away,
Yeah,
the jacket,
yeah.
and it's like, whoa, no,
Yeah.
Kyle don't wear a t-shirt until later.
But I quite liked the fact that one of the cops that are chasing him down now in this one, in the opening scene, was that T-1000.
Yeah,
It just changed the dynamic quite well, I thought. And
yeah,
like I said, it sounds like putting 2 Terminators in was one of the ideas James Cameron had for the first film. So
yeah.
pretty cool in that aspect. Also, I said J.K. Simmons plays O'Brien. He's then played by Wayne Bastrup, because he's credited as young O'Brien. So that's J.K. Simmons' cop character that sees Kyle Reese in this scene at the beginning of the film when it's doing the 80s, because J.K. Simmons has gone down some sort of conspiracy theorist route and
Yeah.
helps them escape at numerous points in the film. He's also an odd actor to put in a Terminator film.
Yeah. This film is full of unused ideas from
Yeah.
previous movies, because
Yeah.
even this is the first time you actually see the big time displacement
Where they
thing, yeah.
send them back in time.
And that is based on James Cameron's sketches from T2.
Yeah.
And there's other stuff in this as well. It's from, well, actually seeing Kyle going in the time displacement machine. That was supposed to be in the Salvation trilogy.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Again, similar to Salvation, some damn great ideas dragged down by some horrid ones.
Yeah.
Because is this the one where they've got rid of Skynet?
Yeah. Genisys is Skynet.
So I don't think it's actually Skynet yet.
No.
They're trying to stop it while it's Genisys. And you asked why is it Genesis spelt with a Y? Didn't you?
Systems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the same reason as Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
Which is what I said it would be.
Right. Also, while we're on about weird stuff, what about that magic healing spray? Do you not know what I'm on about?
No.
Sarah Connor uses it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, what was that? Where'd that come from?
I don't know. But it also works on...
I know it's yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but it makes sense. Like, also, his flesh is organic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess if it works for him, it would work for her.
I really don't know.
Still, get rid of it. Somewhere in both of these, in all of these, I think we're going to discuss, there's great films to be found,
Yeah.
but they all fail in execution by some sort of contrivance and an odd idea that drags it down. I think it's Marcus that drags down Salvation.
Yeah.
In this, it's John Connor more than anything. Put the cast aside. I know the cast don't quite work in them roles.
Yeah.
But take the focus off John Connor being a bad guy in this and just
Yeah.
have it be actually Matt Smith
Yeah.
in that time or something.
Yeah.
And they fail or something.
Yeah.
Like, they...
The John Connor idea, I think, was supposed to be similar to the Kyle Reese idea from Terminator 2, where it was where the T-1000
you
was getting
think
like
being a
Kyle.
good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously they had to cast someone as John. John is
Terribly nice cast,
Yeah.
right?
John in the franchise is known as the hero, so it's a bigger twist for him to be the villain. But no,
It's not even that Jason Clarke's a bad actor, though.
he's just not John Connor.
No, but he's actually great for a bad guy role.
Yeah, Lorne Bath does the music on this one. It's not bad. It brings back all the traditional stuff, but
Yeah.
it's edgy, not great. It's too big.
Yeah.
Get him the guy you want to do reboots, because he did the Bad Boys, the last 2 Bad Boys movies, and he did one of the Mission Impossibles, and they just seem to get him on now when it's a big reboot thing. The latest Beverly Hills Cop on Netflix, he did. So I'd call him like Mr. Reboot.
Yeah. Also, not important to the film, but possibly is.
All right.
Not a great poster.
No.
You give away in the trailer that John Connor's the bad guy.
Slap it on the poster.
Nobody wants that.
Slap it on the poster.
And then it's obvious in the poster, and the poster's just an awful design.
Oh, it's a mess.
Just a big flame in the middle with John Connor stood in it.
Yep.
With his Terminator body.
Yep.
And a little bit of fleshy head.
Yep.
Just not very good design. And you've put Kyle Reese on the poster,
Yeah.
but it's Jay Courtney holding a rifle, an assault rifle or something.
Yeah.
Just from looking at that poster, you have no idea who Jay Courtney is.
No.
They've not put him in the signature Kyle Reese look of the long coat or anything.
No.
It's kind of obvious Emilia Clarke is Sarah Connor.
That'll never be obvious to me.
I mean, they've given her a leather jacket. Do you know what I mean? And
Right.
Sarah Connor wore one in Terminator 2, I think. She definitely wore one a lot in the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah.
But other than that, you don't really know what the hell this is, and it feels very fan-filmy.
Oh, yeah.
For a
You
poster,
see Arnold
anyway.
Schwarzenegger on it, and it's like, it must be Terminator.
Well, they've made sure you see his red eye
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, yeah, because he don't have sunglasses on the posters anymore.
No, for whatever reason. Well, I think it's because he rarely wears them, because they've made the sunglasses be the symbol of evil, aren't he?
It's also because in the last two, he's more human.
Yeah. Anyway, I have nothing more to say for Genisys unless you do.
No.
This one also felt too much like a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah,
In
they
parts,
do
like
that.
a little too superhero. Not superhero, but very much like the story beats found in a Marvel.
I
film.
guess.
It's not really what I want.
In a way, it's kind of like Terminator 2 in the fact it's the modern Hollywood movie.
Yeah, I guess.
And Terminator 2 set the groundwork of the modern
Yeah. Well, I'm
Hollywood
not a
movie.
big fan of modern Hollywood.
No, I'm not either. But Hollywood back then,
Yeah.
much better. They were trying
Yeah.
new things, as now it's just, do you want to just do what works and everything else?
Any more musings on this one? On Genisys?
Now, move us on to Dark Fate.
Oh, you will you?
Yeah, and Terminator Dark Fate from 2019.
I hunt Terminators.
It's directed by Tim Miller, and this one's got way too many writers. David S. Goyer, Josh Friedman, Charles H. Egley, Justin Rhodes, Billy Ray, and James Cameron is also worked on story. Starring Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, Arnold Schwarzenegger as the T-800 and Carl, Mackenzie Davis as Grace, Natalia Reyes as Danny Ramos, Gabriel Luna as Gabriel or the Rev 9. I don't know when you game named Gabriel in this movie.
No, I don't.
Diego Boneta as Diego Ramos. The budget for this one was 185 mil, and it grossed 261 mil, $119,292.
Okay.
Synopsis for this one. An augmented human and Sarah Connor must stop an advanced liquid Terminator from hunting down a young girl whose fate is critical to the human race.
Instantly, that synopsis cracks me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, advanced liquid Terminator,
Yeah.
the Rev 9 is not more advanced than the original liquid Terminator.
No.
Because it needs the endoskeleton still.
Yeah, he's pretty much very similar to the TX.
He's like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the TX, but can
better.
separate.
Or not better. I'm not sure. Still not fond of it.
No.
He's also very bouncy. He does big superhero leaps.
Yeah. These last two, the main Terminator villain is just so
Boring.
yeah.
Not interesting. But it's hard, I think, to do that, isn't it, after T2?
I think the TX was quite memorable and pretty good for a villain. Like, she came in, she seemed like a threat, she did stuff,
Yeah.
you know. But in these, I don't feel like Jason Clarke's only memorable in Genisys because it's John Connor.
Yeah.
Other than that, I can't really remember much. This guy, he just jumped around a lot. Gabriel, the Rev 9,
Yeah.
he just jumped.
He split into two.
Yeah,
And he's driving a truck at one part and sends the other one out.
yeah. He does stuff, but he's not very memorable. But he is in pursuit of them, which is pretty good, I guess.
Brings that cat and mouse vibe back.
Yeah. It's trying to be Terminator again, I think.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned, so even though Sarah Connor's back and it's played by Linda Hamilton, also her first time has been top billed in a film.
Yeah.
And Annie's first time in the franchise being billed second.
Yep. What a guy.
But you said that she's trying to save a young girl in the synopsis. But,
Yeah.
Well, Tim Miller, apparently, the decision was made quite early on to be to kill John, and it was going to focus on his daughter.
Right.
And then they were like, it's not really interesting to see John as like some accountant and whatnot, and then his daughter be the next chosen one.
Yeah. Why was John
So-
going to be an accountant? though?
I don't know if it was going to be an accountant, but he said like an accountant type job, I
Oh.
guess, like just some sort of trivial,
I think it'd be better
regular
if he
job,
just-
like boring job.
I think it'd have been better if he just lived his life how he was in T3, right?
Yeah, just on the run and always in fear.
Yeah.
So he said that they wanted to change it to represent the everyman or every woman who rises from adversity,
Right.
step away from the chosen one trope.
Right.
Yeah, you
No.
see what's weird there, right?
Step away from the chosen one trope. This
Yeah.
one was
It's about her being the chosen, well, her child being the chosen one.
yeah, this one was kind of worse for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you also get flash forwards in this one to see the future of what happens, right?
Yeah.
Nah, I think that's a terrible excuse to just step away from the whole Sarah Connor, John Connor stuff.
Yeah.
To say you just don't want to do the chosen one trope when you then write a story and yes, this person's an every person, I guess.
Yeah.
But so was Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just say I wanted to go back to the first Terminator and just have it be like a predecessor to the chosen one?
Yeah.
Because you're not getting away from that chosen one trope. The whole idea of Terminator only works in a sense of having to send a Terminator back to stop one person is because they're essentially a chosen one.
Yeah.
So no, he's wrong on that, I think.
Yeah.
Silly man. Also, it's hard to believe this is, I mean, it's quite well directed, but it doesn't, he directed Deadpool, which is quite stripped back and basic. It's not.
Yeah.
So I just found it a bit odd that he was doing this.
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually directed a film since.
No, I just can't believe this had a higher budget than the last one.
I was surprised with that when you said the budget. I was thinking, oh, I was expecting this to be about 50 mil less.
And this one grossed not even double its budget. But this one was the first one to go back to R-rated, which I don't think would have helped.
No, probably not.
And to be honest, There's no reason for this to be R-rated. This one didn't feel R-rated at all.
No, I don't think so.
To be fair, the only Terminator movie that does kind of feel R-rated is the first one.
Yeah, I was surprised Salvation's not, to be honest. Like, yes, it's 12A. With its tone and themes, I think they could have done R-rated and it would have felt R-rated if they'd lent into it.
It's a war against robots,
exactly.
so they're not really killing people.
No, but the robots wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you look up the writers of this?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Never realised that it's Justin Rhodes. That made me laugh. It sounds like Dustin Rhodes.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, wrestling.
I only have been credited for one thing, though.
I've got 2 things.
Right.
And I've only got him credited because for writing credits, he only has 2 features.
Yeah.
2008's Contract Killers.
Right.
You've heard of that, right? No one has.
No.
2012's Grassroots. You've heard of that, right? No one has. There is 2 features.
Yeah.
And then I think 7 years later, Seven work on Terminator.
Yeah. As a random 1 of 6 writers.
Yeah. And Billy Ray, possibly a good choice.
Yeah.
Did Captain Phillips.
Yeah.
Hunger Games, far as I understand, Drek.
Yeah.
Shattered Glass,
Good
a
film.
very underrated drama film based on a true story starring Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen.
And apparently wrote Gemini Man,
Yeah.
which got a lot of flack, and I think it's actually still worth a watch.
It's pretty good, especially if you like stuff like Terminator, I guess. And I'm guessing you're going to say Flight Plan.
No, I was happy with those.
Oh,
but
right.
Flight Plan's worth a watch.
Yeah.
And then Charles H. Egley.
Yep. This is, I'm guessing, one of James Cameron's.
Yes, because they co-created Dark Angel together.
Yeah.
But this guy also has written for the Dexter TV series,
Yep.
Hemlock Grove,
Yep.
and I think wrote about half the episodes of American Gods.
Yeah.
All of them are great TV shows.
He was also the writer of Piranha 2.
Yeah, right. Also James Cameron. And then we've got Josh Friedman, who we've discussed in the latest episode of Canton Too Soon.
Yep.
Or as we said on there, if you've listened, would know that he wrote Black Dahlia, War of the Worlds, developed Emerald City, or wrote for Emerald City, which was a Wizard of Oz series, which I thought did really well.
Yeah.
He was also the creator, but I think it should be adapter of Foundation,
Right.
which I believe is a sci-fi series for Apple based on Isaac Asimov. I still need to watch it. But he's now also credited for the story of Avatar Way of Water, so clearly him and James Cameron bonded on this film.
Right.
Probably because they both know how to actually write a good Terminator.
Yeah. Maybe Josh Friedman will write a Terminator movie by himself next.
Picking up from where Sarah Connor leaves off if we're lucky.
Yeah.
Again, some great ideas in here.
Yeah.
Not everyone's a fan, and I can understand why, but I'm actually quite a fan of the character of Grace, played by Mackenzie Davis, the augmented soldier from the future. I just like augmented stuff. It's why I like the Deus Ex games. And
Yeah. I have a problem with her. I know that she volunteers to go back
Yeah.
in time. My problem with her going back in time is the fact she needs medication to stay alive. We don't know what medication it is. I think she has to tell them.
Yeah.
And if she wouldn't have got a chance to tell them, she would have just died.
Yeah.
So she went back, risked her life and everyone's life, and she's like, I need medication or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the
I think it was a weird thing to give her a weakness, because when she comes in, she's clearly a very strong character with how she throws people about.
Yeah.
Which apparently she was actually used when she filmed that scene.
Yeah.
Apparently she didn't have to. She could have wore like a garment to conceal herself, but she was like, no, it wouldn't feel right. So I just find that really odd that you choose to do full naked when you don't need to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's different people. I never wrote down what else I've seen Mackenzie Davis in, but she's actually a great actress. I think she's in a rom-com thing with Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah. Not What If, is it?
If it's What If, it's Daniel Radcliffe and Adam Driver. And I think they were brothers or best friends or something.
Something like that.
Gabriel Luna, who plays the Rev 9, I only know him as Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Quite surprised when they cast him in this. And I don't know Natalia Reyes either, who plays the new Sarah Connor, I guess, with Danny. Do you know what else she's been in?
A lot of Mexican TV, it looked like.
Right, okay. Also, one of your favourite parts in this film, because we'll just get into it now, actually. The Terminator that we see at the beginning that kills John Connor is then the guy sending texts to Sarah Connor with the dates and coordinates of where to go to kill the Terminators in between the events of this film, and that set up this film.
Yeah. I want a series of that.
Yeah, just carry on watching Sarah Connor.
Well,
Chronicles.
yeah.
But it turns out that after killing John Connor, he was like, I'm just going to go into a drapes business and find a wife. Try and blend in the best I can.
Yeah.
He then names himself Carl and starts selling drapes.
Yeah.
That choice was done because Arnold apparently enjoys interior decorating.
Right.
And your favourite part is improv.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a little monologue written, and the first half is actually written, and the part where he's like, I said no, don't do it.
Yeah.
For a little girl's room, you use polka dots and whatnot. That was improv. All right. That last bit. So, in fact, you should put a clip of that here if you can find it.
There's much more to it than just picking the right color. It's the texture, the weight of the material. One wrong choice, you can destroy the look of the entire room. There was this one customer that came to me. He wanted to have solid colored drapes in a little girl's room. I said, don't do it. You need butterflies, polka dots, balloons.
It's the funniest part of the film. I'll be honest, I think it's my highlight of the film.
It's kind of a unnecessary thing, but it ends up being the best thing in the movie.
Also, seeing Carl when we meet him, I like the friction between him and Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
But there's something they do, and I understand why they do it, and I really don't like it because I don't believe it would happen. Carl owns a dog.
Yeah.
The dog is to show now that he blends in because dogs have been used in the past to give away machines.
Yeah.
And the dog is fine with Carl.
Yeah.
It shows he's now more human.
But it may have been raised with Carl.
Yeah. If it's been raised with Carl since it's been a pup, I can tolerate that, actually. That's also another problem that's now just been fixed with a quick line from you. Thank you.
But you don't have a problem with a 400-pound Terminator sitting on a deck chair.
I mean, that's another question of its own, isn't it? In my head, he's not really sat on it. He's just used his machines to just gently hover over it to appear that, just adding enough weight.
Right. If it weren't that, I thought you were going to say he's actually reinforced the deck chair.
That's more work, isn't it? Because Terminators don't need to sit, do they?
No.
So, in my head, he's just, hovering over it to make it look like it's sat. But if that's a problem, then him riding a motorbike at the speed he does in T2 is a problem.
Yeah, exactly. So people are just picking fault.
At the time, I thought I liked this quite a bit more than Genisys.
Yeah.
Upon rewatching both, I think they're both okay.
Yeah.
I still like Salvation more.
Yeah.
These, to me, are the same as 3.
Prefer 3 over these.
Everything they get right, I think they're doing enough wrong to drag it down a little.
Yeah.
But I do like a lot of the good ideas in this. Like the idea of the Terminator actually successfully killing John.
Yeah.
Quite interesting, because now we don't have Skynet, it's something else.
Legion.
Yes, Legion.
Yeah.
Genisys is Legion.
Yeah.
No, Genisys is Skynet, Skynet is Legion. I don't know. Well, apparently, when trying to develop this film, they were like, what we need to do is look at all the failings and workings of the previous films.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of obvious. And even though they've done that, because they've only took the good things that worked, I don't think they've taken into account of new ideas.
No.
You could say the alternate timeline stuff of it not being Sarah is a new idea.
Yeah.
But we got introduced to alternate timelines in Sarah Connor. And I don't think this alternate timeline is different enough because it's like, oh, we still have to protect a woman that's the chosen one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same again in that angle. So there was no real point to change it from John.
No.
I don't know. Like I said, there's some great pieces in this, especially when Carl's talking about don't do it with the drapes
Don't do it.
for the girl's bedroom.
A bit you said isn't that good, but it's still
It's not. I
it's
don't.
just so funny and just
I
in
know.
there, and it
But
don't really work in the movie.
But I don't want to.
Great.
I don't want to hear about a Terminator that's managed to settle down and sells drapes now.
I would just happy Arnold was in it, I think.
I think a Terminator would just, once it's finished its mission, James Cameron says they would learn to blend in over time,
Yeah.
which I guess is true.
They are infiltration.
Yeah,
But for a war.
exactly. They just have to look human enough to pass as humans. But I feel this Terminator's maybe gone too far into becoming something more human than it should have in terms of its line of work. I just find it weird that it chose drapes. I think if you're a Terminator trying to be human, surely you're going to be like, I'll do something where my skills are useful.
Yeah, I think you should do a bit in that.
A soldier.
Commando.
Yeah.
And he's just
Feeding ideas.
Yeah,
Ice
you know
cream.
all the stuff from Commando.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah.
That'd have been great. I love that.
It would really make more sense that way. He can carry one log over his shoulder so easy.
Yeah. It'd have been amazing, right? They pretty much it'll show you a flashback of what he was doing from the 90s and it just plays a clip from Commando. Much easier.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I don't hate any of these. And I think as some modern, regular Hollywood popcorn blockbuster films go, these are actually quite passable.
Yeah. At least they're actually doing stuff and trying to do new things while trying to remain the same.
I just don't think, as much as I like Terminator, I don't think we need to hang on to it, you know?
Yeah.
They're trying to make films that have so much nostalgia baked into them now since, like, the last truly good one was 91.
Yeah.
You know, and then more than 10 years later, you get Terminator 3.
Yeah.
Everyone's got used to just having Terminator 1 and Terminator 2.
Yeah.
Terminator 2 was a lovely surprise. It's different enough from 1. Got a slightly different feel. And you're thinking, wow. And they kind of ended things and did something I didn't expect. But, like, we can conclude there.
Yep.
So then, like, to do films, nobody's particularly asking for them. As nice as it would be to see them, no one is sat at home going like, we should make another Terminator movie right about now.
Well, at this point, they're sat at home like, I wish they'd stop making Terminator movies.
Exactly. And the worst thing is, Sarah Connor Chronicles managed to do great stuff as a sequel to Terminator by essentially just doing what's in 1 and 2 and working with that as its premise and not really trying to do anything new in a particular way.
No.
They were just finding a way to use what's been set up and build a story with what we already had and not add to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Sarah Connor Chronicles works. And I'm choosing Sarah Connor Chronicles over every one of these sequels every time.
Yeah, I think one of the problems is they keep going back to T2. Like,
Yeah,
look
with
at
the idea of this liquid Terminator.
not just that, but they keep doing the big stuff and not the small stuff. I think Salvation was the only one where it is kind of the small stuff, but because it is in the future,
It feels big.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the only one that had the right idea.
Again, all these have great ideas. I just don't particularly think they were executed well, or they've tried to put too much of them in.
Yeah.
Like this one, you've got good idea. It's not Sarah Connor anymore.
No.
Let's just work on that.
Yeah.
Let's not bring Annie back. Let's not bring Linda Hamilton back. Let's actually make it feel more like a new universe.
Yeah, I think that probably worked as well.
As good as it was to see Linda Hamilton back as this hardened Sarah Connor,
We've already had that in T2.
essentially. But what does it give us in this film other than go like, hey, Sarah Connor, right? You remember Sarah Connor?
Yeah.
Sarah Connor's here now. But I don't think it adds anything to this film.
Nah.
If they'd have just kept it as maybe Mackenzie Davis as Grace and then Natalia Reyes as character and Gabriel Luna as Rev 9, you're essentially doing something similar to before. New characters, new timeline, and just leave the opening where we see John Connor die. And Sarah Connor then could be something they bring into a sequel if they chose to carry this timeline on.
I kind of think it would have been nice if John Connor had survived and it's just John Connor in this one, not Sarah Connor. And he's like, I'll be the saviour of the future then. And Grace is just like, who the hell is John Connor?
Yeah. Also, first John Connor to reprise his role in movies because they actually brought
Edward Furlong.
Yes, they actually brought Edward Furlong back to be John Connor to do the CGI stuff, which is just crazy. That de-aging scene is actually really good. Apparently they had scenes filmed where they were talking, but the de-aging stuff apparently wasn't up to snuff.
Well, it's good that they deleted that, I guess.
Yeah, I just imagine these weird, like, glitchy faces. I'd like to see that footage. Anything else you want to add to this?
I think you kind of breezed over David Escoya while he was on about writers, but he's the writer of the Dark Knight trilogy, the Blade trilogy,
the Blade TV series.
Yeah. And Tim Miller obviously did Deadpool.
Yeah, and he directs like some cinematics in video games, and his most famous one is the Batman vs. Deathstroke thing that they used to advertise the game Arkham Origins.
Yeah, and he did Love, Death, Robots.
Oh, has he worked on that?
He's a creator.
Oh, is he the show's sole creator?
Yeah, and he writes and directs some episodes of that.
Right.
So.
I know it's an anthology series, but I didn't realise he was the actual creator of the show.
You need to watch that.
I do, yeah.
Going from Deadpool, it's got the same cinematographer, Ken Sang, from Deadpool. It's got the same guy who does score, Tom Holkenberg, also known as Junkie XL. He does Elite Battle Angel, Justice League, Batman v Superman. His score for this. Not bad. They had like a bit of the like Mexican sort of like vibe to it.
Yeah.
But it's actually got proper metallic clanging, which is great. I don't like the digital or the drumming sound. But at the same time, this is Dark Fate. I thought we were stepping away from what's been done like that. I thought it was supposed to sound a bit more different. And yet Salvation is like the most different you get score-wise. So I was a bit like taken on the music because it was good, but
you handled similar themes though.
Yeah. So I don't know if I liked it or not.
I know I mentioned it briefly in the previous film, but Brett Azar plays the T-800 in this film somewhere. I'm not sure where. I'm assuming in the future scene somewhere. And Tom Hopper's in this as a character called William Hadrill, and I think he was a soldier in the future scenes that we get. Tom Hopper was Wesker in
Resident Evil.
Welcome to Rapture, and he's one of the guys in Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
And I think he was in some Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan.
No. Well, we're on about the T-800 endoskeleton. It's oddly the same endoskeleton from Genisys.
Yeah.
But not any of the previous ones.
No. Bit weird, right? When it's not anymore.
I guess it's because it's not used much since Genisys and whatnot.
But Genisys hasn't happened in this timeline.
I mean, the T-800, I'm guessing they use that same model because it was only used for a bit in this movie. So I'm guessing they didn't really
budget-wise
bother making a new one. I just thought it was a bit odd.
If I was to tell anybody to watch either of these three, I'm saying Salvation.
Oh, yeah.
Which one are you picking?
Salvation. Yeah. After that, I don't know.
Again, there's so many great ideas in them, but they're just failed by little things.
Yeah.
And weight them down.
For me, I'd probably pick Dark Fate over Genisys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that.
Mainly because it's Sarah Connor and Arnold again. I don't have to put with like bad recasts.
Weirdly miscast.
Sarah Connor and Michael Bean. No offense to the actors. I'm sure they've had a wonderful
They're just a little
summer.
miscast.
Yeah, I'm not keen on them in them roles.
Okay. Do you want to wrap us up?
For Christmas.
Okay. I mean, it'd be nice if it went out Saturday as normal.
Yeah. So So that's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week, and if you haven't already, click like and subscribe. A glowing review would also be appreciated. We are cynic_critique on X and Instagram. Links to those and more can be found in the show's description. Remember to join us again next week as we will be tackling the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy from the 90s. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
In their darkest hour, come four brave fighters from another time, another place, another species.